think they're too conscious. You got black here. That's what you got, and that looks better than any other. All right.
Ready?
Mhm. Good afternoon, my villagers. I would say we're a little bit behind, but I'm going to blame everything on the snow. We had a serious case of snow up here in the here out east here. For you, those of you who may not have had that experience, but I think they say it probably were more than we have seen in some time.
In years.
And it's still there. It
Yeah.
came the other day, but I tell you, the pileup is still there. There's nowhere to park. There's nowhere to do anything. But we're just going to go on and hope all of you are in the village. I'm going to say good afternoon, my villagers, again. It's 2026. Do you believe it? It's February, already February. It's the African History Month. Of course, we here, celebrate all year round, right? It takes a whole lot more than 1 month to talk about the group we call Africans.
Yes.
So we're very pleased to be with you today. It's also the month of my birth, so don't forget that. February
Happy
21st.
birthday to the host.
No, not yet. February 21st, and I still didn't
I'm
tell you how
wrong.
old I was. You all know that's okay too. So we will be we will be bringing you history every month.
Yes.
Let me thank my team first, Sheila, my producer. I want to thank Juanita, advisor. I want to thank the promo crew here. And I want to thank my engineer for, I tell you,
Yes,
just keeping us
Norm.
up on track. Want to thank my co-host, Miss Rose Moore. I call her Queen Rose Moore. And my youth group here today. We got them back on track because they've been on a hiatus and they are ready and willing to go because they have so much to talk about. Now, we have a great show today and a very interesting one. The greatness comes from our young people who are back with their teacher and my co-host, Queen Rose Moore, back with some history they are excited to share with you today. But before I bring them on, I must oblige a young brother I met on Facebook. I hope he's watching today. He's promised that he would. He's watching because he eloquently and fervently explained his frustration of how we, as African people, are handling our situation. My response to him was, we are damaged goods, made in America. A book I'm supposed to have written some time ago, but I put that aside to write the last one. Or why shouldn't I cry? Well, he was curious as to why I would frame it that way. I started with a time frame. Most of us accept 400 plus years in these Americas as a reversal of who the true Africans were. Damaged goods being us, the Africans of those 400 years. Now, if we believe our history, here's where you don't have to be a genius or a scholar just to believe or that we have already put the time in. We just have to be curious.
Right.
If we were the first, let's just say that now, if we were the first of God's creation, if we were the first to establish great societies, if we were the first to establish all kinds of inventions, medicals and otherwise, then if that's our history up until 400 plus years ago, something terrible must have happened.
Yeah, indeed.
I compare it to this pandemic that came upon us. Now let's take the first 200 years when those when something came upon us, as I said before, and I compare it to the pandemic. Now when we take the first 200 years, when those cretins, those human traffickers, those devils, evil people, sent those first boats to invade our homeland. Like that virus, it hit us unexpectedly like nothing had ever hit humankind before.
Absolutely.
You right? Nothing you heard about, nothing you read about, or witnessed compared to our experience over those first 200 years at least.
Absolutely.
Nothing in the annals of history happened to any other group. It was unparalleled. Like this pandemic. There had never been another virus that we know of in our lifetime. There's been the flu, the cold,
Spanish,
pneumonia,
yeah, everything.
but nothing to compare to this pandemic.
Absolutely.
First, slavery should be reclassified, lest we confuse it with other instances of abuse. Slavery, Moses and the Egyptians, the Holocaust, the Indian Native Americans, the Japanese. While theirs were bad now, unthinkable, but nothing to compare to the experience we went through. Got to remember that. Now, Sister Dr. Anna named it Ma'afa, a Kiswahili word meaning the worst. And I framed the condition itself as hashtag African Slave Virus 401, putting it in that perspective of a virus, a real virus. And I contend that until it is treated as specific as that virus, we are going to always have these questions without answers.
Right.
So we are damaged goods. Now that we were not that we were born with these deficiencies, but damaged, by society.
Right.
All of our concept, analysis of ourselves come from a Eurocentric framework that hinders one from being objective. That's why instead of trying to explain, I use parables. I use analysis. See, what we see of ourselves are often mislabeled as cultural deficiencies rather than predictable consequences of prolonged untreated trauma, And when you think about it that way, you could put things in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm sure most of us can relate to his sentiment. And I was going to bring the young man on. I had a tape of his, but I didn't send it to Norm in time.
You can bring it to him next time.
Well, I will, but I wanted them to get a sense of where he was coming from.
Right.
He's very fervent about how we as the African people now are not taking charge of ourselves to the extent that we are prioritizing us over others. And I can understand all that. But one of the things that I wanted to explain with him about my book, Damaged Goods Made in America, is to explain it through that phenomenon. Mm-hmm. Those of you who read my first book, entitled Verbal Healing, before that, I changed the name, before the Verbal Healing, that's what I changed it to. We called it Tired, Trite, Tasteless, and Other Nonsensical Expressions That Keep Us Damaged. There's now there's that word again, damage. Remember I said that we were damaged goods made in America to the young man? And let me just say his name. I had it written down here, so if he's there, Norm, if you see him on out there, Chutlet Nables or either Jamar Green. I'm not sure which one it is, but he promised that he will be listening.
But did you tell him what we're doing about it?
But that's what is the information now. He's going to listen to find out why did I name it Damaged Goods Made in America. That word. So there's that word again when I say tasteless and nonsensical expression that keep us damaged. And there's the word go again, damage. Now some of the phrases from the book read like this. We are our worst enemy. We don't stick together. Black folks are like crabs in a barrel. Mm-hmm. And while all those symptoms may be prominent amongst us, unless you are born that way, and we weren't, part of your DNA, then something else must have happened. Now, I would welcome this brother, this king, in my village any day, because truth be told, many of us, if not most of us, feel this way to some degree. We have been compromised under a system that has robbed us of our true self.
Yes.
Put stuff in us physically, mentally, and socially that over 200 plus years have succeeded in damaging our total being. Mm-hmm. And and due to my own lack of expertise, I borrow a phrase from one of the most celebrated human beings in the 20th century, Albert Einstein.
Oh.
You all heard of him, right?
Absolutely.
He said, and I quote, I'm not so smart, I'm just curious. You hear that I'm not so smart, I'm just curious. So when you hear me classify myself as an unapologetic amateur looking for experts in Africanism, I'm working from that modality that I have always been seriously curious. I wondered why. If we are to believe our history, you don't need to be smart to do that, because smart people had done that for us already. To name a few: Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Chican Diop, Dr. Leona Jeffries, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, and many others. They've gone that route, so they are the smart ones. I just can follow what they have tested. So these are the experts. Gave us the history of Africans before the kidnapping. Then there are the analysts, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, Dr. Joy DeGraw, who gave us the diagnosis, named it post-traumatic slave syndrome. But there has never been, or has not been one yet that I'm aware of, who has come up with the fixes like that pandemic. As with others, they are identified, studied, and developed cures for. There are schools set aside, specific discipline, dissertations awarded, required anyway, centers specific for those studies, and that's where I see the African slave virus 401 being handled. You know, the same as. I have the idea, feel it deeply and passionately, and I hear that many of the most important ideas in history were first felt before they were articulated. I may not have the academic prowess, but when I use analysis, it put it where the goats can get it. Now that's an expression from our dear ancestor brother Joe Madison, which means make it plain. See, we have to know first that enslavement was not only a historical event, it functioned like a virus that was never treated. So when I say damaged goods, I don't mean we as Africans are naturally deficient, but have been injured with unnatural causes for over 200 years and still ongoing. See, that's why I use analysis, metaphors. They give examples by which we can see our situation more clearly, by association with something familiar, like that pandemic, of course. You know, that's a perfect association as far as I'm concerned. When that virus came in, someone asked the question, why? After which it became clear that none of us had the answer. It will require those who have studied viruses, not just any virus, but rare viruses. Call them epidemiologists or whatever. Classification means a lot. Name for them, not just anyone who has studied medicine.
Right.
Then we began to look to those people for cures. Not even the most powerful man in the world at that time, the President of the United States, that was when Trump was in office, who suggested injecting the bleach. Well, even the uninformed of us knew that that was not the answer.
I mean, Trump.
Trump.
Yeah,
That's what I said, right?
Yeah.
We knew early on that it required those who had studied, you know, this particular thing, disease, that was unique to anything we had seen in any of our lifetimes. Something uniquely different, which required protocols that were uniquely different. Now take that and apply it to our situation. See, that's where my idea came from. Not from any Eurocentric brain manipulation, but just plain old common sense. And when you use plain old common sense and curiosity and bypass the Eurocentric brainwashing, it takes on a whole new understanding of our situation. And that's the essence of my book. I'll play the young man's presentation maybe next week because it was really so powerful. I was so proud of him because he came from where most of us would come from, wondering why are we behind in this, that, and the other. But if we have not been tended to, have not been explained by professionals, by experts, specialists, I slash that, expert specialists, those who have studied us specifically, then it's hard for the average one of us to understand that dynamic of how we do what we do, why we do what we do, when we do it, and how we do it. But to that extent, we are just pleased that you all are with us today. I want to see who we have here. Norm, right off the bat, see who's in the village. Good, okay.
The village.
See who's on board. I know I sent out my notice late. Okay, Wakia, all right. Yes, they are there. Yes, they are. Hello, villagers. Okay, Wakia. Octavia. Okay, happy Black History Month.
Yes,
Lacey,
happy Black History Month.
Friend, how you doing? And Chester from Florida. How you Floridians? Are you all getting through the snow down there? Greeting villagers. Walter Shaw, California. I know he's not about any snow. He's on deck. Rashida Johnson. Robert Cabbage Dog. We are on. Hi. Okay, I'm so proud. I'm so pleased with y'all. Just stay tuned.
Yes.
Now what we're going to do, because we have our young people back on track.
Yes.
We have them back in the village. They have been studying. They haven't been doing. They've
telling
been
you, these young people are busy today.
Busy. And it's so exciting to have them back with us. And I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Rosemore. I call her Queen Rosemore because she does so much and she continues to do with the youngsters. And we're going to keep them informed so they can keep us informed. See, what happens is when we teach them, believe me, young people, that someone has taught us. We have a long history going on. So when we are teaching you all, we're coming from a place where we've been taught. May not be about my mom or my dad. They may not have had the knowledge or the education, but we get it from people who was determined that we was going to know about our history. Like I say, like the Dr. John Henry Clark, like the whatever. I don't think Norm has a clip because I think Tony sent in these clips today, and he has to send them in a day ahead of time. We had a clip of
wow.
We had a clip of Carter G. Woodson.
Yeah, it was so awesome.
It was an awesome clip just before we were going to bring the young people on.
It was going to be our introduction clip. It was very awesome.
Yeah.
But I guess I could reiterate it.
Oh, yeah, I know you can.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to turn this over right now to the master herself.
Well, good
Queen Rosa.
afternoon, villagers. And I am very pleased to be here. I am so glad to have the young people. They're just as busy as we are, I tell you, between school activities and all of their chores that they have to do at home. But you know what? We're so proud of them. We're so proud of them because they are our future. So no matter what it is, no matter what it takes, we have to get on board and put all that we can put into them. So we're not going to be before you long, but this is Black History Month. And you know what? God has a timing for everything.
Yeah, for
because
everything.
we were trying to find the right time so that we could relaunch after the holidays. But it brought us all the way down to what better time than Black History Month.
Exactly.
Okay? So without further ado, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the introduction that I thought we had a clip about. But the reason that we're starting with Carter Woodson and the reason why it is so relevant and aligns with kicking off Black History Month is because he is the founder of Black History. Carter Woodson, who you know was a publisher, he not only a publisher, writer, and publisher, but he also published a lot of the works and saw that a lot of his contemporaries that were during his time, like W.D. Du Bois, you name it, I can go on forever. All the people of his time and his decade and those that went before him, he saw that our people knew who they were.
Yes.
Okay, even if we weren't able to publish things and get credit, because you know that our white brothers and sisters stole everything. And what they didn't steal, they destroyed because they didn't want our greatness to be known, but they couldn't, like truth,
Yeah,
crushed
truth
to
crushed
the
to the
earth,
earth.
shall rise again. They couldn't hold us down. So I got I'm going to let them introduce themselves as they begin to read. But Carter Woodson was the founder, and he was responsible in history, early history, black history, even before Jim Crow, of getting recognition for our accomplishments, recognition for who we are, recognition for the great DNA that we hold. The Bible said there is treasure in earthen vessels, and this is what he was talking about. I don't know if you know, but our DNA is so special and unique. But we're going to learn about that this month. So I'm not going to take any more time from the young people, and we might even have a clip for you next and at the end of the month. Are
Right.
you going to come on again?
Well, the reason we are here at the beginning of the month because it snowed so seriously last Monday, so we canceled the show for
so
that
we'll
month.
be here
But at the end of each month.
Okay, we're going to give you a double treat at the end of the month. Okay, so who is going to start off the introduction into learning about Carter Woodson? Take it away, sweetie.
In his book, Woodson.
Well, let's say who you are. That's
Yeah.
Helene Moss.
Yes.
Helene,
As a matter of fact, he's our youth co-host.
Yeah. And let us know a little bit about yourself. What grade are you in?
I'm in 8th grade.
And what are you studying?
I'm studying math, ELA, science, social
Are you any
studies.
good at it?
Yeah.
I know you are. And
Okay,
so what
once
are
you tell everything.
Yeah, what are you going to, well, when we get to her, because it is about her.
No, it's about all of them once they tell everything.
Yeah, I know, but isn't she, okay, when we get to her. So, what do you want to do first?
No, he's going to present himself. I would
Okay.
just want him to tell his name, make
Okay.
sure he identified himself. But then he's going to go forward with his presentation, and then the next one, and the next one, and the
Yeah,
next
let
one.
them flow. Okay, let them flow without any interruptions from us.
Mm-hmm.
Take it away.
In his book, Woodson argues that the U.S. education system was designed to control, not liberate black people by teaching them to value European culture while devaluing
Valuing.
their own history, identity, and potential.
Mm-hmm. That's
Okay.
it.
So now we know what his work entailed. Next.
Who was the next person?
My name is Awakeem Moss.
Okay.
I'm in 7th grade.
Okay.
And education was used as a tool of control. Schools taught black students to admire white cultures and leadership.
Speak
while
into the mic.
ignoring black contributions.
Mm-hmm.
This created dependence instead of independence.
Okay.
Excellent.
When you control a man's thinking, you won't worry about his actions.
Say that again. I
Say
think
that one
that's
again.
important.
If you control,
When you control a man's thinking, you won't worry about his actions.
you sure
right.
won't. Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what they've done. Next.
Black history was erased. Textbooks included African and African American achievements, making black students feel inferior,
Yes.
invisible, disconnected from their heritage. This weakened cultural pride and self-confidence.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Excellent.
Okay. Next.
My name is Chastity Stephen Shivers. I'm in 5th grade. Miseducation produces mental slavery. Even after physical slavery ended, mental slavery continued through. Biased curricula, Eurocentric standards, internalized racism. People began to believe the lies about themselves.
Excellent. They sure did. Now, who's coming next?
My name is Chloe. I'm in 6th grade.
Get closer to the mic, baby. Very good. I hear you.
My
though.
name is Chloe. I'm in 6th grade. Schools trained black people to serve, not lead. Education prepared black students to work for white systems, follow white leadership, avoid building their own instructions, and not to, their own institutions, and not to become independent thinkers or community builders.
Excellent.
Okay.
See, man, that is so true.
Okay, who's next?
Me. True education should build self-determination. Woodson believed real education should teach Black history, build racial pride, encourage economic independence, support community leadership. Education should empower, not limit.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely. Next. So we learned a lot about him so far with just those little excerpts from his book. The book is so important. It's the miseducation of Black folks. And to answer the young man that you met, that is what happened to us.
Exactly.
And so those things that you just said on him are the things that we are doing about it. But we need everyone.
Exactly.
We need to come together as a people in unity. And we have to teach our young people because they're the ones that's coming up behind us. So we have to plant into them so that they can bring up the legacies and the greatness in the DNA and awaken and motivate and inspire the DNA that they have in them.
Exactly.
Okay,
Well,
and who's going to give us our conclusion?
Chastity.
No,
Me.
No, Chastity is.
Chastity is.
In this present administration, whose 2025 agenda is to destroy Black history, and that means identity, legacy, and truth of who we are. Carter G. Woodson's The Miseducation of the Negro remains important today because many of the issues he identified, such as the exclusion of Black history, the promotion of Eurocentric standards, and the shaping of beliefs through biased education, still influence how people understand identity, culture, and power. Woodson warned that when education ignores or distorts the contributions of marginalized groups, it can limit self-confidence, critical thinking, and leadership potential. In today's conversation about representation, equality, and culturally responsive teaching, his work reminds us that education should empower people to understand their full history, think independently, and build strong communities rather than reinforce outdated hero hierarchies
Very
or
good.
stereotypes and white supremacies, and forfeiting the truth of progenitors of the human race and God's firstborn.
That's right. And that's
right.
us.
That is excellent.
That's us.
I am so proud of you
So
guys.
please, everybody, read the book. You guys are great. And we're going to really work hard to really kick our message forward for Black History Month. So everybody look forward to it. We'll probably even have the outfits ready
Right.
by our regularly scheduled appearance and show.
Right.
Now, that's not the only book that you have to read. Not only Carter Woodson's book, but our very own co-host
Right.
just had a book. Take it away. Ruby.
I'm just getting ready to talk about those guys over there. Not only are they students, but they're famous.
Yes.
They're profiled in this book that I just released. It's my first children's book, What's in a Name? And the protagonists on this book right here, this is Chastity, but they are all included in. She's here because the title of the book is What's in a Name? It just goes to show you that when you're calling names or you're making reference to someone, you always be conscious of that the name matters. You remember when I first started this podcast, I declared that since we didn't know, and we still don't know, who was brought over here, what we do know, though, is when they snatched her for our homeland, they just didn't snatch. When I use the word anybody, I don't mean it derogatorily because we are all God's children. I mean in terms of fame and fortune or whatever you call it. There were queens and kings. They've got folks who they knew could help them build their country over here. So they went for the best in terms of academics and otherwise. And what they happened when I suggested, when I first started, I said, when we meet each other, we may not know each other, may not have been introduced to each other, but we look at each other as kings and queens, and if we don't know the name, just for the sake of it, let's just say High Queen, High King, and that recognizing that you may just be meeting a king or a queen because we don't know who they brought over from here. So when the book is What's in a Name, and the subtitle is Must You tell everything.
Yes.
And the subtitle is just to take on the whole idea behind how the book gets started. It's a 20.
I love the book.
It's sort of a 20-year type of.
I read it. I love it. Yeah.
Thing, because what happened, I had a little nephew, and I reference him in this book, AJ, when he was about your age, maybe he's younger.
Mm-hmm.
He and his sister, who was younger than him, and she had not gone to school yet, but they came up to visit their godmother, who's your Aunt Rose, was the godmother, not this Rose, but your Aunt Rose, my sister Rose, was the godmother at the time, and she took him out to lunch, and she was asking him how was he doing in school, like we ask you all. We expect you to tell the truth, but sometimes you're going to imp it up a little bit. So he said, I'm doing good, and his little sister said, no, you're not. Say, the teacher say you were not doing so well. And he say, must you tell everything?
Mm-hmm.
So it was so interesting at his age that he was used that particular phrase. And when I heard it, it stayed with me. So the idea behind this book is fictional, but it came from that point. That when he continued, she was just a little tattler, his sister was. So whenever she would tattle on him, he would say, must you tell everything? To the point, she began to think her name was Must. So when she entered school, her mom dropped her off at the office, because she was in a hurry, so she couldn't take her to the classroom. But when she dropped her off at the office took her to her classroom. Her classroom teacher, she asked her what her name, and she said, my name is Must. And the teacher thought her name was Must, so she kept her that way. The mom came to pick her up at the end of the school day, and she was looking for her daughter, Chastity, because that was the name, not Must. So when she looked for Chastity, the teacher said, I don't have a Chastity here, to begin frantic, because she knew her children. And the mom became more frantic because she said, my child is not here. Where is she? I know I dropped her off, So she became frantic, and the teacher said, well, I don't have a Chastity here. And by that time, Chastity heard her mom's voice, so she came from behind wherever she was, may have been in the bathroom or wherever. So she came out, and the mom said, there's my baby, there's Chastity. The teacher said, she said her name was Must. Get the point? She had heard it so much. And the idea, one of the points in this book, is particularly that N-word. We do not want to hear that N-word coming out of any of our mouths.
Absolutely.
And we know you young people listen to rap and all that other kind of music, so you hear it all the time. But what we want you to know, that is not acceptable. It is not a word of endearment. It's nothing like that. It's very derogatory, because that was one of the last words that our ancestors heard when they were being hanged, when they were being raped, when they were being brutalized in any fashion. It was the N-word. So if that word carried them to their grave, then why should we use it now? So the book is basically about don't use words, because one of the sentences in the book is when Chastity told her mom that one of you, I think she said Elijah, has used the N-word. And he said he thought it was a word of endearment. Well, then we say, no, that word is never a word of endearment. Yeah. So that's the idea behind the book. And for you villagers out there, a lot of you have already got this book, but I want you to continue to encourage all your folk to pick up this book. We want to make it a bestseller. That's how we get our books into the libraries.
And the message out.
The message. That's how we get to get our message out, because we heard that there are a lot of our books are being taken out of the system, from schools, from library. So what we're determined that even if they take them out, we can counter that by making sure we have all these books in our library.
Absolutely.
And particularly a book such as this, not because I wrote it, but because it is very important that we understand that there's something to words.
Right.
From my generation, we heard the expression, and it's probably still going on. Sticks and stones may hurt your bones, but words will never hurt you, or something to that effect. Well, we know sticks and stones may hurt your bones, but words will kill you. so that you can get them in the right direction. And if they say, I'm going to lynch you, that's what happened to our people. And that was then, but it's going now, because when a lot of our young men, like Trayvon Martin and the rest of them, was killed, that was the last word they heard. So we are very determined, very intentional about trying to present an image that's going to befit you all, because you're God's children. You know not what they have painted us out to be.
Do we have
So
a clip?
I'm sorry.
Do we have a clip?
A clip of the book? I don't know. Norm, do we have the clip of the book that we could play?
Or any other clip?
Sticks and stones can bruise the skin, but words go deeper, they sink within. A whisper soft or a shout so loud can lift you up or break you down. A single word can feel like rain, wash away the deepest pain. Or it can burn like fire inside, a wound no one can see from outside. Words can harm or heal, they can break or they can build. What we speak, what we say, can change a heart in just one day. Use them wisely, let them shine. Let your voice be warm and kind. Every word is powerful and real, because words can harm or heal. Remember things said years ago. Some were heavy, some made us glow. A gentle phrase can calm the storm, a cruel one leaves the spirit torn. So let's choose love over fear, speak with truth and make it clear. We're planting seeds with every line. Let's grow a garden full of kind. Speak life like sunlight through the trees. Speak hope like waves upon the sea. Let forgiveness be the song you sing. Let your kindness be the gift you bring. Words can harm or heal, lift a soul or make it kneel. Every voice, every sound can turn a moment all around.
Our villagers, don't forget, if you reach out to your bookstores, your libraries, and it's on Amazon, you just be sure to put Ruby Williams Shivers. I understand that some have gone in looking for Ruby Shivers and it doesn't come up. Mm-hmm. So if not, then Ruby Williams Shivers. And if you go into Barnes & Noble or people who may not have the book as we speak, but if you request them, then they will get them in. So don't hesitate to go to wherever outlet you feel that you need to go to inquire about the book, because we want to make sure that all our young people particularly get a hold to the book and take heed to the message that's in the book. Can I see my villagers again, Norm, and then we're going to get another clipping up. Mm-hmm. Okay, again, I just appreciate you all, those who have come on, Walter Shivers from over California, Lloyd Shivers from North Carolina, Tavia, Reverend Dunning. I got to see you, Reverend Dunning. We're supposed to be doing something, right? Good afternoon, Villager. Robert Cabbage Talk, always there. I'm just so dependent on him to be here. Those kids are excited, he said. And Alan Chester said, beautiful. Great looking book, Reverend Dunning said. Mm-hmm. Teach the children, he said.
Yes.
Those kids are excellent. Okay, I'm just so pleased that all of you take your time out to encourage us. That's what it is all about. Mm-hmm. Ann Chester, I always appreciate you coming on. It's the encouragement that keeps us going.
Absolutely.
Knowing that we are touching somebody somewhere and the message will be forwarded as we go forward.
Yes.
And particularly our young people, they know that we are very serious about what they're doing, because they're some busy young people. I tell you, these kids, they're all in the books. They go to their Aunt Rose weekly for music. Great musicians, and
Very
Chastity
talented,
is always
very
dancing
gifted.
now. So
Yeah.
they just keep themselves busy, and
All
we're
of
very
them.
very
They're
proud
gifted.
of all of them. All of them
Each
are
one in their
gifted
own
and
unique way.
as with all of our children.
Yeah.
That's what this is the essence. If we just present them with the necessary whatever we need to have them learn, they'll do it. They will learn it, because we know that is one of the reasons that we have been so mishandled and over the year, because people who control things are afraid that we will come and outshine them.
Yes.
And
yes.
that's the whole fear of us being put down and kept down. It's not something that we created, but if you're under a system that control you over 200 years, and again, I'll make this point very clear. Unlike any other system of slavery, that's why we want to classify some of our wording, because to pick it up from the Eurocentric phenomena, then we'll stay right into who they say we are.
Mm-hmm.
Slavery, by any definition, is not what we went through. First of all, our chattel slavery, which means that we were bought not to be released again. Slavery, even biblical slavery, you had a point where you get released and whatever. But with us, it was just a continuation of enslavement. It's one of the reasons that I'm determined, until we rephrase it, redefine it, we're going to continue to feel like we are doing what other folks have gone through. That's why you hear sometimes even us will say, well, we are the only one. Why we don't do this and why we don't do that? Because we're comparing us to what another group of people who may have gone through something. Say, for instance, our Jewish friend, they went through the Holocaust. Terrible, bad, worst situation. But what happened is they didn't go through what we went through, because when they were released from the Holocaust, they was in shape. They were prepared to take over where they left off. So that's why you see with the accomplishment that they made, they didn't have anything mentally to stop them. See, it wasn't about just the physical, it was the mental blockage. The same as with the Japanese. There was a Japanese internment. They enslaved them for however many months a year.
And the Indians,
and all of them was enslaved, but they were not treated the way we were treated.
Right.
See, when it comes to taking your history, just sapping you of all that's dear to you, your language, your culture, your history, your religion, it leaves you bare. Leaves you bare to start recreating something that human being was not just put here to just recreate. They were brought here with certain inalienable rights and greatness and whatever. But when they take that away from you, then it's almost like you got to start all over again.
Right.
You know, and starting all over again, we have come a long way. Because of our exceptionalism, because we are exceptional human beings, we were able to sort of pick up where they left off, and it didn't leave off. Because I tell everybody, they say, well, slavery, as we know it, was history. It was not. What we went through is ongoing. You know, you may look at the Holocaust, that's history. You may look at World War I, that's history. You may look at the Japanese internment, that's history. They were let free. But what we went through is ongoing. So it's more than just history.
Well, they knew how powerful we were.
Yeah, and it's more than just history. So we're going to always be bringing you that kind of information, because, as Rose says, truth crushed to the earth, going to rise again. It will rise again. But we got to be still conscious of scripture that says, my people will perish for lack of knowledge.
Absolutely.
If we don't bring the knowledge in.
Absolutely.
And there's another quote I love so much. Truth spoken aloud. Change only comes when truth is spoken aloud. So we got to remember all those things and be conscious always that we're on top of it. And with what you're all doing, is very much on top of it. Now, we're going to get out of here, but before I do, I'm going to ask my villagers, as we always do, if you like what we're doing and think we should continue, and if it's worthwhile, don't forget to share. Don't forget to, what you call that other thing we do? Young ones. What is it? We share, we what?
Like,
We share, we like,
comment.
and we send contributions. So if we send contribution, it's to a Facebook or a subscribe. You're right. So all those things that will make us continue here, you do that, even if I don't know how to say it sometimes. Okay. God bless you all, and we'll see you next Monday. Thank you for
Take care.
Village.
And thanks for joining in.